known for the loss of land value.
Question number 10, Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. What role, if any, did he play in recommending the appointment of Ian Fletcher as Director of the Government's Communications Security Bureau?
Mr Speaker,
right,
as I publicly stated before, I agreed with the State Services Commissioner's advice that a potential shortlist of people identified by a recruitment consultant for the job should not be considered by an interview panel. I agreed with Ian Rennie to look elsewhere to fill the position. I rang Ian Fletcher and said that if he was interested in the position, he would need to go through a process and should call Martin Weavers in the first instance. The interview panel was unanimous that Mr Fletcher was suitable for the position, and Mr Rennie then recommended his appointment to me. I took his appointment to Cabinet. It was agreed. I then recommended the appointment of Mr Fletcher to the Governor-General.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Why did the Prime Minister not give that information in his correction that he gave at the start of question time today?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, because it wasn't necessary.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Why did he not tell New Zealanders the truth about his role in the appointment process when he was asked direct questions about it in this House and by the media?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, as I've said on numerous occasions, when the member asked me, it was a supplementary question to question 12. I wasn't expecting that particular question, and frankly the phone call was so unmemorable I hadn't remembered. But I wasn't the person who filled in my tax return four times but forgot to fill in my beauty.
That adds nothing to the quality of the answer. Supplementary question.
John, that's desperate.
Order! Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Why did he say 2 days after the question in the House, quote, I didn't undertake the recruitment, that was fully done by the State Services Commissioner, when he was the person who rejected the shortlist, he was the person who suggested Ian Fletcher, and he was the person who made a phone call to Ian Fletcher 2 days after the question was asked in the House?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, because in the context of the question I was asked, I believe that to be correct. The recruitment was undertaken by the State Services Commissioner, and that is actually accurate in terms of the way it was done.
Silly question.
Supplementary question, Louise Upson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Order. Supplementary question, Louise Upson.
Supplementary question to the Prime Minister. Can the Prime Minister tell the House what reports he has seen of the Auditor-General's view about the appointment of Ian Fletcher?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, if I can, I've seen the Auditor-General say that he does not intend to carry out an inquiry into the appointment of Ian Fletcher. And let me quote from the Auditor-General. The Prime Minister has responsibility for this appointment, unlike for chief executives of other government departments. The relevant legislation...
I have a point of order, right, Honourable Winston.
Speaker, with the greatest respect to the House and to the Auditor-General, if she's had a gender change, we should know about it.
Order. The Prime Minister has every right to answer the question that was put by Louise Upson if he wishes to continue.
Speaker, to continue, the Prime Minister has responsibility for this appointment. Unlike for chief executives of other government departments, the relevant legislation does not prescribe any particular process. That has to be followed before making that appointment. The State Services Commissioner provided support to the Prime Minister in the appointment process. It's relatively common for recruitment processes to adapt as they progress. The members might not like it, but the Auditor-General says no problems. The State Services Commissioner says no problems, and there, in fact, nothing wrong with the appointment. Ian Fletcher was the best candidate for the job.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
How did he come to have Ian Fletcher's phone number when he called him in July 2011?
Right, Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no clue.
No, order. It was a reasonable question, which I don't think should be difficult for the Prime Minister to answer. How did he come to have the phone number? Order.
Mr Speaker, I genuinely have no clue. I don't know how I got the number.
Supplementary question. Order. Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
In light of his last answer that he is clueless about these matters...
No, that will only lead to disorder. Would the member just ask a supplementary question? Order. If the member wants a supplementary, he will ask it. Thank you.
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker.
It's a point of order. It's a perfectly reasonable question. The Prime Minister said he had no clue.
As
Mr.
to how
Robertson
he got a
said
phone number.
he was clueless.
No,
that is
order,
the same thing.
Order. That is not a helpful comment from the Dr. Russel Norman. Would the member please ask his supplementary?
Supplementary question, Mr Speaker. Can the Prime Minister understand why New Zealanders are struggling to believe anything that he has got to say on this matter when he can't even answer the question of how he came to have Ian Fletcher's phone number?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, no, because I didn't at that point have Ian Fletcher's mobile phone number. For the best of my knowledge, I rang actually the directory service to get actually the Queensland number. I don't actually have his number.
Have a point of order from the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr Speaker, look, Mr Speaker, parliamentary question time will become a total waste of the time, but the Prime Minister can make it up as he goes along. He told the House that he happened to have his number. Now he explains weeks later that he went and found it somewhere else. He didn't have the number. What's the truth here? And that's the purpose of question time.
Order, and it's pretty clear to me that on reflection he had time to remember how he now recalls that he got the number. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. Order. It's the most important thing today.
It is not important whether it's strictly clear to you, because it's not important. What's important is it is not clear to the rest of the country or anybody else in the House how you derive that understanding.
Well, the Prime Minister's now given you an answer that made it a lot clearer. As a member has further supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
In light of the Prime Minister's last answer, can he tell the House how he managed to get a mobile phone number from a directory service when you can't get mobile phone numbers from directory services?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, because when I rang the Queensland service, it was redirected to that mobile.
Order. Question number 11, Mike Sabin.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Associate Minister of Social Development.